The City Council of New York did something remarkable recently. It passed a minimum wage for on-demand ride-hailing drivers, Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, those folks. They hadn't been covered before. And it's a final step, in a way, of showing that that industry is exactly like the taxi industry, because that's what happened to them. They started out driving taxis 100 years ago, and they weren't very well insured, and the cars weren't very well maintained, and the workers were not properly vetted, and they weren't well paid. And the result was an inadequate, dangerous taxi service, until, of course, the private profit hustles of all the taxi drivers led to a demand for better, safer conditions. A taxi and limousine commission was established in New York, as in so many other cities, and a deal was struck, because relying on the private capitalist economy is too dangerous. Wages were set, prices for cab drivers were set, rules were set requiring insurance and vetting and training and maintenance of the cars, etc. All that Uber and Lyft ever were an attempt to get around that. By calling it not a taxi but a ride-hailing service, they could, for a few years, make a ton of money. By getting around, by paying workers less, by not taking care of their cars properly, by not insuring them, the same game. And all that's happening now is, once again, we're learning the same lesson. Leaving ride-hailing services to do what we originally let the taxis do is forcing us to do what we eventually had to do to the taxis as well. All that those scams were ways of getting around the rules to make a buck. All the talk about gig economy, sharing economy, and technological breakthrough was so much verbiage to pull a stunt to make money.